Good evening, you're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Farhana Sheikh. Israel has dismissed 2 officers and reprimanded senior commanders after an inquiry into the killing of 7 aid workers in an airstrike in Gaza found serious errors and breaches of procedure by the military. According to the inquiry, Israel forces had mistakenly believed they were attacking Hamas gunmen and there were serious errors in decision-making.
Among those dismissed were a brigade chief of staff and a brigade fire support officer. Israel said it also issued formal reprimands to senior officers, including the general at the head of the Southern Command. International pressure on the country has been mounting since the airstrike on the World Central Kitchen staff. 1 American was among the dead. Earlier on Friday, Israel agreed to open 3 humanitarian aid corridors into Gaza, following its first phone call with US President Joe Biden since the airstrike. Biden had warned that future US support for Israel would depend on it taking concrete steps to protect civilians and aid workers. He also called for an immediate ceasefire and urged Israel to reach a deal with Hamas without further delay.
Following the opening of new aid routes, the Malaysian government expressed its readiness to send additional assistance for humanitarian missions in Gaza. Prime Minister Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim said additional aid was made possible as the government still has allocation for it. He, however, highlighted the need to clear the remaining aid that was trying to enter Gaza, adding that the aid from Malaysia is already on standby at the Rafah border through assistance rendered by the Egypt government. Anwar said the government will ensure that all aid are given before continuing with additional aid and that he has already had several talks with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to expedite the delivery. Meanwhile, the United Nations Human Rights Council on Friday adopted a resolution calling for Israel to be held accountable for possible war crimes and crimes against humanity committed in the Gaza Strip. The vote marked the first time the UN's top rights body has taken a position on the nearly 6-month war, which has killed over 33,000 Palestinians.
28 countries voted in favour, 13 abstained, and 6 voted against the resolution. The resolution also called on countries to cease the sale, transfer, and diversion of arms, munitions, and other military equipment to Israel. This is needed, it said, to prevent further violations of international humanitarian law and abuses of human rights. Friday's draft resolution, which was brought forward by Pakistan on behalf of all Organisation of Islamic Cooperation member states except Albania, calls for an immediate ceasefire and for immediate emergency humanitarian access and assistance. The move comes after the UN Security Council, just last week, finally passed a resolution calling for a ceasefire in Gaza for the month of Ramadan, though it was largely ignored by Israel.
In other news, police have arrested a total of 16 people in connection with the Israeli man caught with 6 guns and 200 bullets last month. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein said another 12 arrests were made following the initial 4.
The latest suspects were detained at various premises in Johor and Kuala Lumpur based on intelligence gathered and information from the public. Razaruddin said some arrests were made in collaboration with the investigation conducted by the Commercial Crime Investigation Department regarding cryptocurrency payment activities. Police previously arrested a married couple from Kuala Selangor for allegedly supplying firearms to the Israeli man, identified as Shalom Avitan. Another man was also arrested for allegedly being the driver for the Israeli. 36-year-old Avitan entered the country through KLIA on March 12 using a French passport. Police are still investigating to determine his motive.
UMNO Youth Chief Dr. Muhammad Akal S has been released after giving a statement at the police headquarters in Kota Kinabalu. The investigation is in connection with a seditious speech in Kelantan, where Dr. Akmal allegedly led calls for a boycott of supermarket chain KK Mart over the sale of socks with the word Allah printed on them.
In a statement on Friday, IGP Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein said that Dr. Akmal is being investigated under Section 4 in bracket 1 of the Sedition Act 1958 and Section 233 of the Communications and Multimedia Act 1998. He added that the investigation papers will be sent to the Attorney General's chambers after all the steps to complete the investigation are done. Razaruddin said investigations were made based on 2 police reports lodged against Akmal for his speech on the controversial socks found at a KK Supermart outlet last month. Meanwhile, Dr. Akmal said he was surprised at being picked up by the police upon his arrival at the Kota Kinabalu International Airport, as he was scheduled to give his statement at the Dangwangi Police Headquarters in Kuala Lumpur on Saturday.
The National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, reported 1 new death due to heat stroke this week, bringing the number of heat-related deaths to 2. The unfortunate incident, which occurred on April 1st, involved a 3-year-old child in Kelantan. The first death was on February 2nd, involving a 22-year-old individual in Pahang. According to NADMA, as of April 3rd, the cumulative cases of heat-related illnesses have increased to 37, with 10 cases of heat stroke, 26 cases of heat exhaustion, and 1 case of heat convulsion. Perak and Kedah recorded 8 cases each, Johor 5, Negeri Sembilan 4, Sabah 4, Selangor 3, Perlis 2, and 1 case each in Pahang, Penang, and Kelantan. We'll go for a quick break. Stay tuned for more.
Semoga kau mampus kat tepi jalan tu. Dian pun berita dia tak stabil lagi ni.
Siapa bagi kau hak untuk seksa anak orang?
Jangan bunuh anak aku, Yang. Kau kena bangkit, Dian. Takdir itu milik kau dan milik kau, Dian.
Takdir itu milik aku di Astro dan On Demand.
Welcome back. There is a significant rise of fatal accidents during the festive season. Anticipating a high volume of traffic during the upcoming Hari Raya Aidilfitri celebrations, we speak to Professor Dr. Kurantayan K.C. Mani of UPM for his thoughts on how to reduce the number of deaths during this period.
But if you look at the health burden due to road crash, in Malaysia only for last year, every 53 seconds, we have 1 road crash reported in the country. And due to that, every 80 minutes, we have 1 life lost due to road crash. So this is the health burden which is in front of us. And usually these numbers will slightly rise up during the festive season due to high number of traffic volumes on the road. So it is everyone's responsibility and duty trying to bring down these numbers in order to make sure that all our travel are safe during festive season as well as throughout the year later.
Although it's everyone's responsibility to ensure road safety, Dr. Kulantayan stressed on the vital role that employers play in increasing awareness among their employees.
There is one big stakeholder which has a significant role, which is the employer. Because under the employer, you have the employees. So if every employer can take care only of their employees only, then I think collectively together we can make a huge difference. Because under every companies, they will have the safety and health officers. Okay, so safety is part of the company's agenda as well. Okay, so let me give you some examples where in companies where the companies has mentioned that the employees should not be using a mobile phone while driving, and then they should not be speeding. And then when they are parking their cars, it has to be reverse on the reverse track. So there are many examples which they have done for some of the companies. So if this can be scaled up to all companies, so that the whole aim is to make sure that our employees are safe, and then because they are safe, they also help to make sure that everyone else who are sharing the same roadway are also safe.
He also urged for more harmonization between all players in ensuring measures to reduce road accidents are effective.
if you see traditionally, it has always been it's being led by the government agency, okay, where they do the advocacy. But here I'm trying to see that if more players can actually lend their hands as well. Of course, highway toll operators are also doing a good job. But my request here for the highway toll operators for this year, if it's possible, if we can have a unified message by all toll operators, so that the same message crosses the road users. The two main messages that I would like to cross here is to get every motorist to reduce their speed. Okay, that's one. And second is to make sure that they use the seat belts. So if at toll plazas, that is when all the vehicles slow down. And sometimes you can see during the festive season where the toll operators, they take a step ahead. At the toll plaza, they hand over hampers or pamphlets or what. So at that point where you have a contact point with the passengers and the drivers, if you can remind them for all the passengers to wear the seatbelt, especially the passengers who are sitting in the rear seat, that is where it is lacking now. The percentage of rear seatbelt usage is pretty much low. So through this effort, if we can remind them and get them to wear it, that will make a huge difference. That's one. Second is in all the rest areas, that's another contact point, another venue for us to meet all those car passengers and their car occupants. Again, to remind them as well that please use the seatbelt, especially again, the adult passengers who are sitting in the rear seat.
World Health Day is celebrated every April 7th, and this year's theme is My Health, My Right. Dr. Shantam from the Malaysian Medical Association discusses the significance of this theme and strategies to ensure equitable and quality healthcare for all.
The right to health is a fundamental principle that actually shapes my perspective and guides my work. So it simply put, right, it actually means that everyone should be able to receive good quality healthcare whenever and wherever they need, right, without actually compromising, suffering from financial hardships. So professionally, this means that I advocate for policies and practices that can actually help achieve that. And personally, it's about equity and justice. It's about making sure that every patient who comes to me would hopefully be able to get good quality healthcare without being affected financially.
Independent health journalist Lo Fun Fong sheds light on non-medical factors that may compromise individuals' right to health.
You know, especially in the rural areas, they still do not have access to clean water, you know, and electricity, proper sewage system, roads, and even they don't even have adequate health care, you know. And in other words, this has got to do with other social determinants of health. They call it the non-medical factors that influence health outcomes. So, for instance, every year, you know, towards the end of the year, during the monsoon season, you know, the NGOs will be bringing in a lot of dry food and stuff for the Orang Asli. And that's because many of the villages will be like cut off from the rest of the world during, you know, because of flood. And it's very difficult to go in, and all this vehicle, four-wheel drive and all that will be damaged as well. So you see, like, even things like that, you know, they don't even have tar roads, they don't even have access to all these amenities. So this is has been happening for many years, and it's a great struggle.
Catch the full conversation on It's About Youth every Friday at 10:30 p.m. only on Astro AWANI.
That wraps up AWANI tonight. I'm Farhana Sheikh. Thank you for watching.
Papa.